Hello students, welcome once again to the bio lesson of lesson number 12, the life cycle. This is the fifth lesson we are dealing with in science 2. When we say a life cycle, what is the cycle involving the life? That means what type of work or what type of system are we talking about? The life cycle means when any organism is considered, how does it propagate? When I say propagate, what does it mean? That means how it produces another same organism of its own kind. When this cycle goes on, this cycle is called as life cycle. Now in this chapter, we are going to learn mainly about the system which is called as reproduction. Reproduction. That means production is making something and re means again making it. So reproduction is a very important part or very important system of our body. When I say our body, not only for human beings but for any organism. We can say for plants, for animals, for insects, for small organisms, for microorganisms. Everywhere reproduction is important. So why is reproduction important? If there is no reproduction, what may happen? If there is no reproduction, the new species, the new organisms in that species may not come, and one day it may so happen that that species get extinct. So for the continuation of the species, for the continuation of the same organism, and so that they do not get extinct, this process is very important, and this process is a fundamental process of any organism, and that is called as reproduction. Now you can see on page 146 of your textbook, activity 12.1. Now it's not an activity, some pictures are given. What do those pictures tell you? That's what we have to understand. Now the first picture, what does it tell? It shows an hen and an egg. Now this is related to laying of eggs by some animals. Some animals can lay eggs for propagation of their species, and some animals give birth to the young ones. So here the first picture which shows is a hen which has laid egg. That means that egg is going to hatch and the new hen or the small chicken is going to come out. This is a part of reproduction. Second picture, you can see one branch is taken and put it in the soil, that from the branch a new branch has come out. This is possible in plants, not in animals. In plants, there are various parts of the plant. Now root also can form a new plant, stem can also form a new plant, leaf can form a new plant, root can form a new plant. One branch if I take and just put it in the soil, it will start branching more. So this type of propagation is called as vegetative propagation. The third picture which you can see is there is a seed shown, and that seed is having one plumule and one radicle. When I say plumule, that means the part which is going to become the plant or the stem, and the part which is going to become root is radicle. So you can see the brown colored seed from where the plumule and the radicle is coming. Now what does it show? It shows that the germination from the seed is taking place. What does it mean? It means that again the new plant is coming out from that seed. The fourth diagram, the fourth picture, which shows that a small organism is dividing into two, and those two will again divide into four. Now this type of propagation is asexual type of propagation. It's called as binary fission. When I say binary fission, bi means two. So binary means fission means breaking down. So when an organism breaks into two parts and those two parts again breaks into two parts, such type of propagation is called as binary fission. So these pictures, what does it tell us? So question 1 of that pictures is, which life process is shown in these pictures? So very obvious, the life process which is shown in the picture is reproduction. Now second question, is it an essential life process to stay alive, like nutrition, respiration, excretion? Now nutrition is required by our body, by any organism to produce energy. Yes, then respiration for taking in oxygen, and that oxygen is required for digestion. And excretion, whatever waste is made from the body, it has to be excreted out. That means these processes are required for your body, for your growth. But is reproduction required for my growth? Is reproduction required for any other growth of any organism? Actually, reproduction is a system which is not involved with your growth or your growth of any organism. It is very important system for continuation of the species, and so that species do not get extinct. So this is a fundamental property or fundamental characteristic of living organisms, which is very, very important. So all living things or all living organisms on this earth, they produce same type of organism. That means a plant will produce a plant, a mango tree will produce a mango tree only, a small insect will produce a small insect. Amoeba, if I take an amoeba, it will produce amoeba only. Human beings, they produce human beings only. That means what I am trying to tell is the all living organism will reproduce their own species, will reproduce a species which looks like them, which is exactly like them, but you can identify them separately. Now, from where are they coming? From where this new generation is coming? Then this new generation is produced from the existing generation. The generation of living organisms which is now at present is giving birth to the new organism. And so we can say the new generation is coming from the existing one. And we have existed, or we have come from our forefathers. So generation to generation, the new species is formed, and these new species looks like us or looks like that particular organism. And so we say that fundamental characteristic of any organism is reproduction. What is reproduction useful for? Why reproduction is necessary? So reproduction is necessary to maintain the number of species. You can say to maintain the number of species. Now when I say to maintain the number of species, that means if there is no reproduction, one fine day there will be no new organism of that kind. For example, we can say if the butterflies are not reproducing, if the insects are not reproducing, if any plant is not reproducing, there will be no further generation of that particular organism. So to keep the number of that species going on, this reproduction is necessary. So I can say reproduction is necessary for reproduction is necessary to maintain the number of species. Second major thing, to prevent their extinction. So when I say to prevent their extinction, what gets extincted? Extincted, you know a very good example of dinosaur. Dinosaur was an organism which was present some centuries ago, but it is said that there are no dinosaurs in the last some few centuries. There might be many reasons for it. What must have happened that further reproduction may not have taken place because of some environmental conditions, some ecological conditions, or some problems with the body functions. So there might be many reasons for the extinction of dinosaur. So what I am trying to tell is, what is reproduction responsible for? Reproduction is responsible to maintain the number of species of that kind of species. We are talking about any organism, whether it is plant, whether it is animal. And secondly, to prevent their extinction. They should not get extinct from this earth. Every organism has a role to play on this earth. Every organism which is born on this earth plays an important role in the food chain and the food web. So if one of the organisms get washed away or get extinct, then it might change, and it might change the full web formation of food chain. So it might create a problem in the energy transfer. So this is all the reactions which might happen if one of the organisms get extinct. Now the organisms belonging to one species are similar to each other, right? So if I say mango tree, all mango trees have same type of characteristics. So this, if I talk about any insect, same insect will be born from the pre-existing insect. Human beings will be born from the human beings only. But there are differences. What type of differences will you find in human beings? Though we are of the same species, but we can identify each other. Your face is different from your friend's face. How is it possible? Even your face is different from your parents' face. Parents have given birth to you. You have many of the characteristics like your parents, but you are a little different from them. Now what is happening actually? Reproduction is involved with DNA mapping. DNA copying is taking place. What is DNA? DNA is the deoxyribonucleic acid. So this DNA is present in all the genetic characters which are in the chromosomes of the nucleus. So when this crossing takes place, there is some problem or some variations in DNA copying. Now a child is taking the DNA from his parents, but by copying, during the process of DNA copying from parent to offspring, there might be some variations, and those variations are responsible for our looking different, and these variations are very important. If there are no variations, how is it possible that we can evolve with the ecological balance of our nature? How we will look, and if all of us look same, it will be very difficult. There are variations in DNA mapping or DNA copying, and that's why we can see the different type of faces in the same species. So what is the use of variation? The variations are very important because there might be some species which may get washed away because of temperature changes, humidity changes, flooding of water, and various other ecological problems. But these variations, these variations help an organism to survive in an environment, and that is why variations are important. These variations will help them to survive or evolve with the rise in temperature or the various water levels changes or humidity level changes, and this helps in survival of that particular species. So this is the importance of variations. Now in activity 12.2 on page 147, there are pictures of plants given. Try to see the picture and tell which plants belong to the same species. Now how will you identify? You see each plant. How does it look? Does it have the same type of flowers? Does it have the same type of leaves? Does it have the same structure? So you will come to know when you look at the picture. Now you try to see the picture. A, B, C, D, E and F. There are 6 pictures. Out of these 6 pictures, B, C and E looks same. That means I can say that this B, C and E belong to the same species because their structures are almost same, their leaf pattern is also same, their height is also same. So I can identify that these are maybe the organisms or maybe the plants of the same species. This is how you can make out the human beings which are belonging to the same species. We belong to Homo sapiens. That means the species is same, but only due to the DNA variations we look different from each other. Now further continuing with reproduction. What are the modes of reproduction? Modes means what are the ways in which the reproduction can take place. Now here we are talking about plants and animals both. So there are basically 2 modes of reproduction. One is asexual reproduction, one is sexual reproduction. So we will see that.